Lions and tigers and bears, oh my, they're all LGBTQ. Two of the main arguments you will hear against homosexuality, bisexuality, transgenderism, and being non-binary are these completely false rumors that being LGBTQ is unnatural or unholy. Now, we've already proven on this show before that being gay and transgender are not sins in the eyes of any major religion of the world, therefore discrediting that second rumor of it being unholy. So today, we thought we'd cover how natural your sexual orientation or gender identity are as well. And to do this, we're going to cover tons of different species in the animal kingdom. To help us better understand this, we're going to break down the animal kingdom into two categories: sexual orientations and gender identities. Homophobic people will say that relationships are meant to be between a man and a woman because of their severe lack of education on this. But homosexuality is actually found in over 1,500 animal species on Earth, from insects to fish to birds and mammals and everything in between. In fact, more than 90% of relationships in giraffes are homosexual relationships. Male giraffes know how to flirt and have even been observed necking with each other, which is the process of gently rubbing their necks along the other's body for up to an hour before mating. For bottlenose dolphins, both male and females display just as many homosexual relationships as they do heterosexual ones. Males in this species are generally bisexual, but they do go through periods of time being exclusively homosexual. So in some respects, we can call them homoflexible. For lions, homosexuality is very common. Usually, 2 to 4 lions form coalitions, where they work together to court females. But generally, in these coalitions, until one of them ends up with a female, they form bonds with each other by having homosexual intercourse. Bisons have more homosexual relationships than heterosexual ones. For their species, female bison only mate with bulls once per year, so during mating season, males engage in same-sex relationships several times per day. Kudos to bisons. For monkeys, which are very close to humans in the animal kingdom, both males and females engage in same-sex relationships. Male monkeys usually only engage in these relationships for one night at a time, compared to females forming intense bonds with each other, which are usually monogamous and last a long time. In some populations, homosexuality isn't just common, but it's the normal. 2/3 of all homosexual activity happens among females, but males engage in same-sex relationships frequently as well. Now, some homophobes will argue that a child cannot be raised by a same-sex couple, but for the Laysan albatross, which is native to Hawaii in the United States, over 30% of their relationships are same-sex pairings. These relationships are monogamous and usually stay together for life, and usually chicks are often raised by their father who is in a same-sex relationship, or their mother in a same-sex relationship too. For swans, 20% of couples are homosexual. Usually these relationships are monogamous and stick together for life. These same-sex couples often start families together. They do this either by a male same-sex couple mating with a female same-sex couple, then once they have a child, pushing the other couple away, or they adopt abandoned eggs by other swans. If we look at walruses, males reach sexual maturity at the age of 4. Until then, they are almost exclusively gay. Even after they reach maturity, they are considered bisexual, mating with females during mating season, but being in same-sex relationships for the remainder of the year. In almost every case, males embrace each other, sleep close to one another in water, and form a lasting relationship with one another, which is based more on the emotional bond rather than the physical one. For domestic sheep, up to 8% of them have lasting relationships with same-sex partners, even when opposite-sex partners are around. Quite possibly the most popular example of this is found in penguins. More than 28.3% of relationships among penguins are homosexual. And examples of same-sex couples can be found in many zoos around the world. In fact, Many zoos use gay-coupled penguins on their zoo tours to show guests and children how natural being homosexual or bisexual are. There are countless stories of same-sex couples adopting other penguin children and helping them grow up. And in penguins, these same-sex relationships usually are monogamous and last for life. But it's not just in these animals where we find same-sex relationships, a common part of their species. Homosexual and bisexual relationships are found commonplace in mammals like bears, rats, caribou, cats, dogs, elephants, foxes, horses, pandas, raccoons, and more. It's found common in birds like owls, chickens, emus, sparrows, mallards, ostriches, ravens, and doves. It's found common in fish like the anglerfish, grayling, salmon, sticklebacks, and more. In reptiles, same-sex relationships are common in bearded dragons, geckos, lizards, garter snakes, rattlesnakes, red-tailed skinks, water moccasins, wood turtles, and more. For amphibians, it's common in salamanders, frogs, and toads. For insects, it's common among wasps, beetles, butterfly, bees, crickets, and more. For other invertebrates, it's common among crabs, spiders, octopuses, and worms. But it's not just your sexual orientation that is completely natural. It's your gender identity too. For transgender and non-binary individuals, you might hear transphobic people condemn your gender by saying how it's not the way nature intended you to be. But not only have we proven in a previous episode how valid your gender identity is, according to DNA and science, we wanted to also remind you here that transgenderism is found in hundreds of other animal species aside from humans. For example, clownfish are one of the most popular transgender animals on Earth. Every single clownfish on Earth is born male and later turns into female. Cardinals and chickens can't swap sexes the way some fish, snails, and coral do. But there are cases in which these animals have been half male, half female. The same could be found in butterflies, parrots, snakes, lobsters, and more. For bearded dragons and turtles, studies found that they can change their sex while in their egg. While exposed to warmer temperatures, male dragon eggs will alter the course of their development and become female, despite remaining genetically male. They not only socially transition, but can even produce and lay viable eggs. Spotted hyenas are pretty cool too. Female hyenas all have penises, making them the official trans women of the animal kingdom. Studies have shown that female hyenas are, quote, the only mammalian females to copulate, urinate, and give birth through the penile-like canal. It's even possible for females to achieve erections. The females simply retract these appendages into their body in order for males to mate with them. For red-sided garter snakes, while they cannot change their sex or their appearance, they give off the illusion that they are female, therefore socially transitioning. Sea snails often change their sex to improve their chances of survival. They can adapt to whatever is around them, and just like clownfish, all sea snails are born male and later transition to become female. Even lions sometimes exhibit physical characteristics of males and females. Scientists found lions that are gender fluid. And just in case a transphobic person makes the argument that physical transition is not natural, you can bring up frogs. They have been observed changing their sex in the wild. A common pesticide in Europe, which is now banned, is atrazine, which is a weed killer. It often ends up polluting the rivers where the frogs in Europe live, turning male frogs into female frogs. These trans female frogs are often able to reproduce as natural females, laying viable eggs after mating with a male frog. Transgenderism is found in plenty of more animal species on Earth, but the point is, being homosexual, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and so on are all completely natural. In fact, examples of being LGBTQIA+ have been found in a majority of species in the animal kingdom. We just don't have enough time today to cover them all. So the next time someone tells you that it's unnatural to love or be your authentic gender, just show them this. Listen up, homophobic and transphobic humans. We know you just want a reason to hate on someone else because studies show you're insecure about yourself. But being gay or trans are completely natural. We know you didn't want us to take over your media with it, but we already did. You know that gecko on the Geico commercials? Turns out he's gay. The clownfishes, Marlin and Nemo, and the turtles, Squirt and Crush in Finding Nemo, well, they are all transgender. The lions in The Lion King? Yep, bisexual. Oh, and just wait until you find out how gay those puppies are in Paw Patrol. My point is, you can't keep spreading lies of how unnatural being LGBTQIA is, because we can find examples of homosexuality, bisexuality, transgenderism, asexuality, and intersex in almost every animal species on Earth. But the only species on Earth to show hatred or discrimination for being LGBTQ are humans. That means even the dung beetle is smarter than you, and they quite literally eat shit. So stop hating on us for loving who we love, and stop hating on others for living their life by the gender they were always meant to be. Because being LGBTQ is like being a beautiful butterfly, or giraffe, or chimpanzee. And when you make a chimpanzee angry, they throw their feces at you. So unless you want to be a dung beetle and eat it, maybe stop coming after us with lies. Special thanks to our Pride students this month, Paula Johnston-Chambers, Paige Narst, and Richard Smith. Join our channel as a Pride student to see behind-the-scenes bloopers and more by hitting the join button down below.